Hello, hello, and welcome to Pressing Buttons, episode 22. I'm Hugo,
I'm Nick.
and it's great to be here. It's great to have you guys. Another wonderful episode. We got a doozy of an episode for you guys. But before we start the episode, I just want to thank everybody for the support that you guys have been showing us on the Discord, on Twitter, on YouTube, on the podcast channel, of course, Spotify and Apple. Great support from you guys. On the Discord, we're about to hit, I believe, 70 members. So that's pretty cool. Let's get to 100 so we could hand out some free t-shirts, courtesy of Michael Sages. So let's get to 100, guys. Some cool Pressing Buttons t-shirts. All right, so then let's get on to the show. Like I was saying, we have a doozy of an episode. Our main news for the news segment, it's going to be about the state of play. Nick and I talked about it last week. We did mention the Sony state of play, which was this Thursday, June 2nd. We mentioned that we were excited for it. We didn't know what to expect. And I think it surprised me. I don't know about you, Nick, but I think it surprised me with just the amount of stuff that they announced in the 30 minutes. And I think everything that they announced, I was happy with, mostly. Not that I wasn't happy with some of the stuff that they announced, but there was definitely a lot of big titles that they did announce. And we're going to go off in a sequential order of everything they announced, and then we'll give thoughts on everything. Obviously, with the stuff that we were more intrigued by, we'll go into deeper thoughts. First off, they announced the Resident Evil 4 remake coming March 2023. That one was a big one. We've heard rumors, especially with Capcom doing a Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 remake updated with the newer graphics and such things. I'm a big fan of Resident Evil 4 when it came out on GameCube. Obviously, I thought it was a great series. It shifted from kind of that over-the-top third-person view, slow zombie action to a more action-packed game, but it still kept that survival zombie action feel of it, where it was still scary, it was still zombie-oriented, but you were a little bit faster with the reflexes. So they announced the remake. From what I've seen, and I've played Resident Evil 2 and 3 remake, I'm excited for this just because they also said that they're kind of doing their own little twist to it. They're gonna make it fresh. So even if you did play the original, it'll be different enough where it's something new. So definitely one of my favorite announcements that they made in the state of play. What did you think of this one?
I actually thought when the trailer first started, I thought it was going to be Last of Us.
It
Did
did. It
you?
was very Last of Us. It was like the,
Yeah,
the music too, the guitar. I was like, oh, I think
yeah,
in my head, I immediately thought, oh, they're gonna announce the Last of Us factions multiplayer, which it's still on the books. I know they're working on that. So that was my first thought.
yeah, yeah. Uh, so yeah, Resident Evil 4. It's a game that I've tried to play multiple
Try to
times.
play
I've
it.
actually it's a game that I've started multiple times and just I played it for a few hours and then just get sidetracked for whatever reason. And I think I've probably done. It's like one of those games that's been released basically on every system at this point.
Yeah.
So I think I've tried I've probably done that like 2 or 3 times, and yeah, it was a game that's been rumored for a while to get a remake. So I'll probably pick it up and finally beat this game that everyone's obsessed with. At the same time, like I actually wasn't that blown away by the trailer. Like it didn't look like that much of a improvement. So I don't know. Did you think it looked good or?
Well, I think it also has to do with, like you said, it's kind of been ported over to so many consoles. It got obviously it was I believe when it first came out, if I remember correctly, it was a GameCube exclusive. Then it got ported over to the PS3. Then it got ported over to the Xbox. Then it got ported over to the PS4. Then the Xbox One. Then PC. Then I believe the Switch as well. Like it got ported over everywhere, like you said.
Mhm.
So definitely it has had a lot of graphical upgrades. There wasn't a lot different. It was a small trailer. There wasn't a lot of gameplay footage shown. I've seen some comparisons on the web of screenshots from like the trailer and then the old game. So it doesn't look like too much, but it is coming out in March 2023. They have a lot of time for improvement. As long as they keep the feel of the combat or just upgrade it enough where it's still good, and the graphics are good, which I'm pretty sure they will, just based off of Resident Evil 2 and 3 Remake. I think it'll look good. It's just, first official trailer that they've shown confirming that it is coming out. I think it's just one of those things where they're still working on it. All right. And then the next thing we wanted to talk about, another Resident Evil title, Resident Evil Village, which obviously it's already out in current consoles and PC. This one, they announced that they're doing a PSVR 2 version, which is cool. The main thing with this one, which I wanted to point out, was from the announcement, they said that this one is going to be using the PSVR 2 motion controls, whereas the first one, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, used the PlayStation controller. It didn't have any sort of move control support. So I'm excited to see how that works. My friend, my roommate Juan, he had Resident Evil 7 on VR, and I played a little bit. It definitely takes you out if you're using the controller. You're just experiencing everything visually, but you still have to use the buttons on the controller, and you have no movement. Whereas with the PSVR 2 controllers, I feel move controllers, I feel like you definitely have more options, and it'll be its own unique thing. I know you've been kind of clamoring for more VR stuff. Is this one you're interested in? This one?
Maybe. I hope there's a demo for it. Well, I think first of all, PSVR 2 is something I'm interested in picking up. I think I need to see a little bit more in terms of the games to actually go through with that. But assuming I do get a PSVR 2, I hope there's a demo or something that I can try with, because I think I'm going to be like too much of a scaredy cat to actually want to like play this game fully. Like, I don't know, I do have some experience with in VR games. I don't know if I would enjoy a scary like jump scare type thing in VR. Like, I think that might kind of freak me out. So I don't know, but it looked cool. So I'm glad to see it. It's going to be a game, but I don't know if this is going to be for me personally.
Well, I mean, I agree with you. Playing these horror games in VR is definitely a trip. I do remember the first section of Resident Evil 7, and it's one of those things where like you're very tense all the time, especially locked up in the house. The guy's chasing you and all that. And I played something similar in Outlast. I don't know if you ever played Outlast, but in that one, you're just like a reporter with a camera, and you're in this insane asylum running away from these crazy guys, but there's no combat in that. You're just basically running away, and the tension that builds up was very similar to Resident Evil 7. So it definitely immerses you in the horror genre, and it's a unique thing, especially it being in VR. So I think it's a good experience to have, but it definitely also spooks the shit out of you. So, it's one of those things where maybe you'll play like 30 minutes of it and you have to put it down.
Yeah, that's why I think a demo might be good enough for me.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to that, and if we play it, we get it, we'll give you some impressions. Hopefully, we don't shit ourselves. All right, and then another one that the next announcement that they made was on The Walking Dead: Saint and Sinner's Retribution. That one's another PSVR 2 title. It just seemed like your normal hack and slash zombie thing. Looked interesting, but nothing raising alarms for me. Like, oh, kind of got to get it, but if it's available, wouldn't mind giving it a try.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of The Walking Dead, so I'd probably skip on this one. I think it's also, there's some version of this. I think there's Walking Dead games on Oculus as well, so I don't think there's anything too exciting about this one.
Yeah. All right, and then the next title that they also announced, well, not announced, the next title that they talked about was Horizon Call of the Mountain. It's a previously announced title from Sony and Guerrilla Games, and I believe Firesprite, who Sony acquired a bit ago. It's set in the Horizon universe. It doesn't star Aloy, it's a different character, but it is a VR game. It looks interesting graphically. The last trailer and this one, definitely a big improvement. this looks interesting to me just because, like we talked about in previous episodes, we do enjoy the Horizon world and how it looks and everything like that. And if there's a VR experience for it, I'm definitely down to try it out and just experience that whole thing, especially with the mechs and stuff like that. What are you
Yeah,
thinking on
totally.
this one?
Yeah, no, I think you kind of have to check this one out if you get PSVR 2. I think it'll be a good technical showpiece. Um, and yeah, I think I've said this before where I don't love the gameplay of the Horizon games, but I do like the look and the world and all that. So I think potentially this could be a pretty cool game for me.
Yeah, and if anything, Gorilla's famous for their graphical masterpieces. Even the Killzone, which is what they're kind of known for on PlayStation, and then moving on to Horizon, doing third person, Killzone being first person. Uh, Killzone looked great. Maybe it wasn't received as well as people's favorite shooters like Halo and Call of Duty, but it was still a great looking game. And then Horizon, a great looking game. So I definitely think the graphic quality will be great, and it will be a good experience just to try out, especially if it's just a demo or something like that. These VRs tend to be kind of short, uh, ride along thing. So I'm excited to see more of it and to play it if I have access to it. And then the next big one that they announced was Spider-Man Remastered PC port. This is huge, just in terms of because we've talked about how PlayStation is kind of moving now towards offering a lot of their titles on PC just to expand the market. And like we said, they've done it with Horizon, they've done it with God of War, they've done it with Days Gone, Death Stranding. So this is another great PlayStation game, PlayStation exclusive game that's making its way to PC. Spider-Man and also the Miles Morales standalone game. They're both making their ways to PC. I can't wait to see how it looks because it already looks great on PlayStation. I'm pretty sure it's going to look even better on PC, and I'm excited to see what the mods do. What mods will be born of this? PC community makes a lot of great mods. We've seen it with Elden Ring. We've seen it with God of War. I'm excited to see what they do with Spider-Man, and it's just get the great game into more gamers' hands. So, I mean, I do feel bad because I know you just said you just replayed it, and it would have been great to play it on PC and kind of play it there.
Well, yeah, I think I recently completed Miles Morales, but it was after the VRR update, and I think I made a comment about how playing that game on PS5 with VRR was more or less was like the first time I had a PC gaming like experience on a console. So I don't know. I honestly don't know how much better maybe it'll be like a little bit better, but like I don't know if it's gonna be way better than playing it on PS5. So I probably wouldn't. I probably won't like double dip on this one. But I guess we'll wait and see. And to me, so it wasn't necessarily surprising because I think they've been talking about for a while how they're going to increasingly release more games on PC, and then the question's really it'll be increasingly more like which games are they not porting to PC as opposed to which ones are they going to port to PC. So I think the majority of their games they'll probably put on PC, and then it's just like a timing question. Like, will they get into like a pattern of it's 1 year after PlayStation launch, it's 2 years or somewhere in between. So I think over time we'll get a better sense of how they think about release windows and when they actually take their games to PC. The thing that I thought was kind of puzzling, it's like why wouldn't it make more sense for them to announce this at Summer Games Fest? So people tuning in to the state of play are existing PlayStation, presumably like existing PlayStation people. So it's like you're really just telling them like, hey, a game that you can already get we're gonna put on some other platform, and I just feel like that would have been maybe had like a better response at like a at the Jeff Keighley thing or somewhere else. So that was the only thing that I thought was kind of odd, that they would like talk about PC ports and a state of play. But I think it's going to be a huge game, so maybe they just were like, whatever, like people are going to talk about it regardless of where we put it. So I don't know, maybe that's the only thing that was like I found a little bit odd about it, but it's a great announcement.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It might have been better to announce it somewhere else instead of in this PlayStation exclusive thing, especially since it's coming to PC. But we don't know a lot of details on this. Like, is it Insomniac that's developing this? Are they the ones that are making the PC port, or is Sony using one of the other studios that they usually use for the port? So maybe we will get more information during Summer's Game Fest, like they usually do. Especially with these titles, a lot of them might be multi-platform, so Sony kind of took advantage and maybe announced some of them. But I know, like for the other ones we'll talk about later, that they're also going to be coming out for Xbox and PC. So maybe they'll release more information on the other ones at Summer Games Fest. And then the next one that came up was Stray. It's basically a cat game. You play as this little orange tabby. You're going around. You, I guess, try to get a robot to help you find your home. I thought it was cute just because, I have an orange tabby, Spooky, that you guys have seen. If you haven't, it's on YouTube, along with Boba, Nick's wonderful Labradoodle.
Burnadoodle.
Nick's wonderful Burnadoodle.
Close enough. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I just thought it looked interesting. It's like a fun little game. I might give it a go. My love for cats, it's unconditional. So let's move on to the next one. This one was a major one, I think. I was really hyped for this one. The Callisto Protocol. It's a new horror game by a lot of the developers that used to work on Dead Space, and also the main studio head director from Dead Space. It looked great. I know when they first announced it the first time, it was going to be kind of with the PUBG universe, which was kind of weird thing to combine, like a battle royale game with a space horror game. But the developers have come out and said that they've separated it from the PUBG universe just so it's its own thing, which I think it's great. It didn't make sense when they announced it, so I'm glad that they did that. The game looks great. It definitely gives me Dead Space vibes in terms of the main character has the health bar on his neck, which I always love about Dead Space. You don't have to like look somewhere else on your screen just to see your health. You have the character right there telling you the health. It has the horror elements. You have these weird like zombie deformed people or whatever. It seems like you're a prisoner or something. You're wearing an orange jumpsuit and you're behind bars and stuff like that. So it's another aspect of like a regular Joe Schmo stuck in some horror shit. And the graphics look great. It definitely looks spooky as fuck. I'm excited for this game. I'm like I've talked about before, I'm a big Dead Space fan. I'm waiting for the remaster. I'm waiting for the remaster that's coming out next year, but this is coming out. It looks like it's on track for December. If they don't delay or anything like that, I'm definitely picking this up. I loved everything about it that I saw. You?
Yeah, it looked cool. Yeah, and I thought that was interesting how... So the studio is called Striking Distance. That studio is like basically created specifically to explore other types of games in the PUBG universe, and it's funded by the company that owns PUBG. So, and then at some point there was like, never mind, like we're not going to do that anymore. So it's like, I just thought that was kind of funny, and maybe it makes sense. Like maybe that was kind of just thematically didn't fit. So, what's the point? And I haven't really looked at PUBG recently. Like I wonder if maybe interest in that game has started to decline, or I don't know, like maybe there's something going on there just with like people not really digging PUBG as much as they used to, probably 4 years ago or whatever when the studio first started. coming together. So, but the game looks great. So I'm definitely gonna keep an eye on it, and it's something that I'll probably check out. I actually never played. I never played the Dead Space games, so I was also looking forward to the remaster. So I might have a lot of that type of game coming my way, because I think the Dead Space remaster is coming early next year. I think.
Yeah, I believe
Yeah,
it's sometime before March or in March. Definitely early 2023.
yeah. I wonder if they'll move the release date because it might be a crowded marketplace for that type of game.
I mean, which we'll probably talk about a little bit later, but it did look like there was a string of very horror action games in that first couple of end of this year, beginning of next year, with the Resident Evil games, with the Callisto Protocol, and then with the Dead Space remake. So definitely a packed horror action genre playlist. Honestly, another thing I wanted to say was like, this is what a new Dead Space would have looked like. I think. I know EA, especially at the time that Dead Space was made, it was all about churning money and like, let's just pull out franchises that people like and not really do too much with them, to just get our numbers up. But like, when you let the studios have freedom and just work on their projects, I think this is what like a whole new Dead Space Part 4, or even if they just reboot the whole thing, would have looked like, because the graphics look great, the gameplay looks great, and it's got that horror vibe that you liked about Dead Space, even though like the third one turned into an action shooter thing, which was weird. But I'm glad that this other studio made by the developers of the original came through, and they were able to work on their stuff and separate it from the PUBG universe and make it what they wanted, which was basically like a different Dead Space, but with a different skin on it. And I'm happy to play it. I'll be happy to play the remake. So definitely sign me up for both of those when the year ends and when the year starts. And then the next game we wanted to talk about that was up was Rollerdrome. This one seems to be like a roller derby with guns. I thought it looked alright. I'm not a big roller guy with guns.
This was
So
my, I guess, biggest surprise. I don't know. Maybe the next two games were. I think they were revealed for the first time, and I thought they were both pretty cool. Like other big games that they showcased in the state of play, like we're kind of, like Final Fantasy and Street Fighter, were kind of
established
pretty
franchises.
strongly rumored to make an appearance. So these two games, were genuinely surprising, and I thought they both look cool. And Rollerdrome, to me, it's kind of like a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, where you're like jumping around on ramps and stuff, but they incorporate like shooting, and I guess it's going to be kind of similar to Trials. And I like those type of games, so I'm pretty pumped about this one. It's a pretty unique art style. So yeah, I'm definitely going to try this one.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna have to let me know how it is.
I think this
'Cause
is more my type of game versus your type of game.
yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it was cool. It's a cool looking indie game, but it didn't really draw me in terms of like, oh, I want to play this. But let me know. Once we see more of it, we might pick it up. And then the next one that they talked about was Eternights. Basically, it's another RPG type game, but this one has a bit of a dating sim aspect to it, like it seemed. It looked good. The combat looked good. It reminded me of Scarlet Nexus. I like the setting of it. The combat looked great. Uh, I'm not a big dating sim type of person, but I wouldn't mind diving into it, especially because I love the RPGs, and it looks like a good RPG. What about you?
Yeah. No, yeah, I thought this looked really cool. Initially, I thought it might have been some sort of Persona game, but then I think pretty quickly you realize it's not Persona. But yeah, to me, it's kind of blending action RPG with dating sim. I'm down with that. I'm a fan of the Persona games, as well as Scarlet Nexus. So yeah, I thought this was a nice surprise in the state of play, and I'll definitely keep my eye on this one.
All right, and then the next game that they talked about, which is one of the big ones, was Street Fighter Six. They officially showed some gameplay. They had announced on Street Fighter Six a while ago. Nick and I, we forgot to discuss it on the podcast because they revealed the logo, and we were like, "This logo is a piece of shit." It was so bad. It was like something, you know, the worst graphic designer could design. But they refreshed the logo. The logo looks better now. And they showed some awesome gameplay. They showed Ryu and Chun Li fighting, and then they showed some other characters. I don't remember the names because I'm not too familiar with some of the newer characters. And the game looks great. I love the art style. It has gone to a more realistic view. Ryu's chest looks like Kylo Ren's chest in the Star Wars movie, so that's kind of funny. But it does have a more realistic view, which I like. And I like the graffiti aspect of it when you're doing the EX arts and stuff like that. I think it's more colorful and it brings a livelier look to the game. And I'm excited for that. And obviously, with Evo coming up in August, I'm pretty sure they're going to reveal more stuff about the game and more aspects of it and more characters. Um, and then, what did you think of this?
Yeah, it looked great. The art style is kind of grown on me. Like initially, I was just like, oh, like it's more realistic, and I'm kind of more of like the Street Fighter Alpha and Third Strike type person. Like that's always been how what I like about Street Fighter art styles. So, but yeah, no, it's kind of been grown on me. And then there's a leak that happened, which showed it looks pretty genuine. So I'm just gonna assume that that's actually those are like all the characters. And when you look at all those art styles, like those all look great. So like yeah, I think it's been grown on me. And then again, looking at the entire character list, like there's a lot to like there in terms of the look of everyone. So it's really just actually seeing them all in motion and how that looks in gameplay. So yeah, and it's kind of a bummer. Like I think a lot of people are kind of disappointed by the leak because typically what happens with these fighting games is I think like Smash Brothers did this like very effectively, but they kind of just like drip feed character announcements during the development process up until launch and build a lot of like hype and excitement around the game. And I know some people don't care about that, others really enjoy it. I'm the type of person that like enjoys those types of announcements, so that basically got taken away from the developers, like being able to do that. So we'll see how they kind of respond and provide new information and try to drive excitement for the game. But yeah, there's that in terms of like the look. It seems there's like some sort of like adventure RPG mode where it's like you're exploring you're exploring the actual streets and able to do some things. So there was a mode
You're
and more like
exploring the streets and fighting.
yeah, exactly. So they finally they're delivering on the name of the game. Yeah, and I think there's a mode. It kind of reminded me of this mode. I think it's called Conquest in the Mortal Kombat. I think it's the most recent Mortal Kombat game where you're kind of like running around in a world and doing random stuff. So I think that could be kind of cool. But I think that'll be basically the first time something like that is going to be in a Street Fighter game. And I think that's it. So yeah, I think it looked pretty cool. I just kind of want to see more at this point.
Yeah, I think you're right in terms of the leak. Definitely, I'm one of those people. I'd rather not be spoiled, but if it's out there, I'll take a look at it. It is a bit disappointing, especially because with these type of games, especially when it's fighters, the excitement of the next fighter being shown and revealed, it's kind of like a good experience. But like you said, it seems to be legit just because a lot of outlets have picked up on it and it's come from a legit source. And also, Capcom kind of alluded to it in a tweet that they did. But from the art style, I'm liking the way it's going. It's definitely different, especially with the new, more modern update to the game and the character art and the character models. So I'm excited for that. One thing which I think you just kind of forgot was they're also doing this sort of thing where they're gonna have the fighting game announcers in the game to kind of, as you're playing the game, have pre-recorded lines play out, which is kind of cool. We've talked about our love for the fighting game commentators and how well they do it, and how it makes you enjoy the competitions as much. So like I think that is a very interesting thing, to have in the game, especially when you have like sports games like the MLB games and football games like Madden, MLB The Show, and stuff like that. When you have those type of games that already have these recognizable commentators, go play by play, I think this is great for the fighting game community, and I feel like it's great for fighting games overall. And I hope more games use this if it's done well.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's yeah, something I thought was really cool. Basically, commentator, voice packs. I think they'll be in a bunch of different languages, and then they'll also provide like subtitles, so you could, if you really want to listen to like the Japanese commentators, they'll have that subtitled for you. The Japanese commentators are super hype, so I could see that actually being something that's worth checking out. Yeah, so that's actually been a pretty it's been like popping off on like Twitter, where it's been a bunch of people. It's become like a meme basically, where people are creating their own, theoretical fighting game commentator. Basically taking clips from people who have commentated in the past, just from like Twitch or whatever, and then like being like, oh, it's so and so is the newest commentator, and it's like all this like cursing and saying insane stuff all the time. So there's lots of memes on FGC Twitter about potential commentator announcements coming. So, but yeah, I think that could be. It's definitely something I was excited to see. So, and then you just gotta start thinking about like who's going to be next.
Imagine us, surprise, pressing buttons. Let's join the
it's definitely not going to be us. But I'm fingers crossed. I hope Yipes.
Oh yeah, we're big Yipes fans. So
makes it in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm also I'm excited to see how it works from the technical aspect of it. I hope they do implement it well into the game, and I think they will. And like I said, I definitely want to see it when it's out there. If it works, once it works, I want to see it in more video games. The next game that they announced was Tunic. It's gonna be released on PlayStation, PS4, PS5 as well. We talked about this before. Great game. It's just basically an announcement that it's going to be out on the PlayStation platform. Obviously, it's already out on PC, so check that out if you haven't. I will eventually when I have some time. Next one was another indie game, Season, A Letter to the Future. It seems to be like you go around, you take pictures of the areas and stuff like that. I have not much to say. Just cause
I think you nailed it. You nailed it. I don't have. It looked cool. Like I don't really have too much to add other than it looks like an interesting indie game.
With these type of games,
I'll play it on Xbox. I'll play it on Game Pass at some point. Maybe. I guess that's kind of how I think about these.
With these types of games, when it's like I don't see the premise, I have to see it in action, and I have to experience it before I give my own opinion. Not that I'm trying to say it's a bad game. I'm not trying to say that. I'm just like I need to experience it before I make my own assumption. By the looks of it, it might seem very bland to me, who's like more action in your face type of gamer. But I have had good experiences with indie games where like once I get my hands on them, it's like, whoa, these are great. So I definitely want to see more of it and kind of play a demo or something and see what it's about. So we'll let you know if we get our hands on it at some point, if it's good. All right, and then the big one that they ended with, that we've been looking forward to, that we were like, please give us some of this shit. Final Fantasy XVI. They released a brand new trailer with gameplay. They released a trailer with some story aspects of it. I mean, you don't understand still what's going on, but you see more characters from the story. They also announced that it's going to be released summer 2023, so that's next year. Uh, Definitely a different timeline than people thought, because a lot of people thought it was going to be released at some point this year, just because they had said it's kind of finished. The
Yeah,
development of just polishing it up.
that was a devastating
Yeah.
release date reveal.
But I'm also comfortable with it, just because even though they said that the game is finished, that they still want to just polish everything up. It is playable from beginning to end, according to them. But we do know that, over there at Square Enix, they're kind of perfectionists, especially when it comes to Final Fantasy. They want to make sure that they have the best product out there, and especially with Yoshi P heading this, he wants to make sure that everybody loves the game, and that it's the best game that they can put out. And I'm okay, waiting another year for Final Fantasy 16. I'm pretty sure we'll get a lot more information about other Final Fantasy stuff this year, especially being the 35th anniversary. The combat looked great. The icons, which are, in this case are the new names for the summons, look great. It does seem to be revolving in a story where a lot of the characters are the icons themselves. The main character being Ifrit's icon. Shout out to Hugo, who is also in the game, another character, a guy with my name, which I was hyped about. He's the Titan, and then you have just different basically icons embodying the people in the game. And then the combat system looked great. It definitely, well, to me, it looked great. It definitely leans more towards the Final Fantasy VII remake aspect of it, where it's more of an action fighting game, reminiscent of Devil May Cry, which also the combat lead for Devil May Cry 5 and also Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is the combat lead for this game, the fighting game mechanic. So it definitely did look Devil May Cry-ish. You had texted me that it reminded you of Devil May Cry, but I'm excited nonetheless. Final Fantasy 16, I'm ready for it. I can wait a year. Your thoughts on this?
Yeah, the trailer looked awesome. I think the combat system, which I think we already knew was going to be more like action oriented based on the first trailer, but yeah, when I was watching this one, I'm like, this looks like Devil May Cry 5 or just looks like a Devil May Cry battle system. And then I can't remember if they actually announced who was doing the combat design, because they did talk. They've previously revealed kind of like some of the key talent working on the game, but then they did another announcement at the date of the trailer and kind of talked a little bit more about all the different people working on the game. So yeah, that made complete sense to me. I think I'm okay with it. I think there's a lot of traditional Final Fantasy fans out there who are maybe a little bit more hopeful that there was some sort of like turn-based or something like that, but they're pretty clearly going in the action RPG route, which I'm cool with. Like I love the Final Fantasy VII remake battle system, so I'm good with that. The other thing was people generally associate Final Fantasy games with like a party system, so you usually have multiple different characters in your group, and based on what we've seen, it seems like there isn't like your typical party system. It almost kind of seems like the summons are going to be basically like your party in a way. So yeah, I guess we'll just have to see what that actually looks like, but I think that could be kind of cool, where because I think a lot of times summons are, it's usually just like one character in your party, and like they might have an ability to do summons, but this seems to be like very focused on summons being core to the gameplay. So I think that could be cool. And like the summons looked unbelievable. Like they all looked awesome. So I think that could be Yeah, like an interesting take on Final Fantasy gameplay.
Yeah, it looked like it like you said, it does look like the summon system is more of your party system, but because the other characters are the summons, I do have a feeling like they're still gonna do some sort of party system. So, like you said, we still have a lot to see. The game doesn't come out till next year. They're definitely gonna give us more information as it goes along, and I can't wait because I was happy with what I saw. I was happy with what I saw before as well. It looks like it's going in a good direction, and I can definitely wait another year while they perfect it and give us the best product that they can.
Yeah, and I was pleased to see that Soken is doing the music. So the music track on the trailer was pretty outstanding. So that's the guy that does all the music for Final Fantasy 14. Or I don't know if he does all the music, but he does at least most of the music. Yeah, and he's great. So I was glad to see him kind of be confirmed to be doing the music for Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah, and like you said, a lot of the main developers from Final Fantasy 14, are also kind of leading a lot of stuff in Final Fantasy 16. Obviously, you have Josie P. Overseeing everything in the game, but I believe the main like storyline person who's writing the storyline or just kind of keeping track of it also did the Heaven's Ward update for Final Fantasy 14, which was well received, and another one of the updates I can't remember the exact one he did, but and then like you said, the music. What was the name?
Soken?
Yeah, Soken. So a lot of good talent from the Final Fantasy 14 team, and we both like Final Fantasy 14, so we think it's in good hands.
Do you like
All
Final
right.
Fantasy 14? I don't know if I knew that.
Yeah, man, I'm level 52.
Okay,
Put a lot of hours. We just don't play together.
that's right.
Don't be
Okay.
hating. Yeah. But yeah, so that does it for the state of play. Like we said, we were definitely surprised by all of the announcement that they made. A lot of big franchises shown up, and then a lot of small franchises, and a lot of gameplay and great visuals, and a lot of information in terms of the dates coming out. Even if some of them are out to 2023, we still got some for 2022. We're gonna link up the we're gonna link up in the notes. We're gonna link the state of play full presentation that they have on YouTube. So if you haven't seen it, you can check it out yourselves. Definitely worth a look if you're a big fan of PlayStation or just games overall. Looking out for the future. We'll be live streaming Summer's Game Fest Thursday, June 9th. Check us out on the Pressing Buttons Twitch channel. We're gonna link that as well in the notes. If you haven't joined the Discord, join the Discord. We're also going to announce it on the Discord when we're out there. We've been doing some testing for it, and we're comfortable with where it's at. We want to give you guys a good experience when you're watching us live stream. It's going to be like a show, but we're just going to be reacting to trailers and stuff. I'm excited to see how that turns out. And we definitely want the community to be there so we can interact with you guys. So check it out this Thursday, June 9th. But we will definitely shoot out that announcement right before we start the live stream, and you guys can join us. And we're going to be moving on to our closing thoughts. I'll lead it off as usual, to keep the good habits going and not surprise Nick with some you go first thing. My first big one is Ozarks. I just finished up part 2. I know we talked about it a couple episodes back, how I had watched part 1. Definitely, I don't know how I feel about the ending. I wouldn't say it was as good as Breaking Bad, which a lot of people compare the two shows, but it was a weird ending. It was more of a Sopranos ending. I don't want to say too much because I know Nick hasn't seen it. And
I've seen it. No, I've seen it.
the part 2.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. So spoilers for our listeners and viewers. I don't like the way it ended. It was just like
Didn't love the ending. Yeah.
yeah, and then the part 2.
My wife felt the same actually. So we were just both like, "What the hell is going on?" Like this. Is just
Yeah, and also
weird.
I felt like they didn't need to split the season into two parts because the second part it was like a lot of going around. There wasn't no progression. Uh, and the way it ended, it was very Soprano like, where it faced to black, and then you hear the shotgun shot that obviously he probably did shoot the guy, Jonah. Jonah shot the guy, the detective, but it was just like it was a weird second half of a finale season. I'm on deck to watch Stranger Things, and I know that also has like part two is getting released in July. So if it does the same thing, I'm gonna be super disappointed about all these breaking of finales into two parts. I just finished watching Better Call Saul as well 2 weeks ago, the first part, and that show, the first half of the series finale, which was only 6 episodes, I thought it did a great job, and I know they've done a great job with the whole season, with the whole show overall, and they've done a great job with Breaking Bad. I'm excited to see the second series, the second part of the series finale, which is also supposed to come out in July. So, but yeah, Ozark ending not that well. It is the broke man's Breaking Bad. I'm sorry if you're like a big Ozark fan, but a lot of the shit they did, not believable. You get a casino, nothing happens. You're with the Mexican cartel, nothing happens. Come on, you're getting away with too much shit, is what it is. That's my
Yeah,
Ozark.
it got a little, it got a bit much. I mean, I know it's like
Yeah.
it's already like a ridiculous show, but even it was like pushing the limit of what you think is like feasible. So it was just, it got
Yeah.
a little too wacky for me. Just
and also
Wendy as a
Roof,
character was just like
the worst.
insufferable. Yeah,
Yeah.
just absolutely awful.
And I like
Um,
Roof, and the way they fucked Roof over. Oh, come on, man. She was out. She had money. She had all that Missouri land. And you just shoot her at the end? What the fuck? I would have been happy if they would have shot Wendy. And
Yeah.
maybe even Marty. Even Marty. Shoot Marty. But Roof, come on.
Marty's got to survive.
He was such a
Um,
passive aggressive man.
Yeah. Yeah. So didn't love the ending. I would actually need to look. I didn't know if this was unique to Ozark, but you just mentioned that for Stranger Things, they're also like breaking it up into two sections. I wonder, do you think that's because of production reasons, or if not, like I'm guessing Netflix is doing that intentionally just to give people a reason to stay subscribed. It's more of like a retention strategy
Yeah, I
for
think it's
them.
more. It is
So
more.
because they just need more. I think they're like running out of content to keep people subscribed to the platform. So for their big shows, they're just like spreading it out, kind of like artificially. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's that, but there might be some production related reasons because I know COVID.
Yeah. Yeah,
might have
I
thrown
would
a
say COVID
wrench in the
too.
works. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I mean, I know Bob Odenkirk for Better Call Saul. He had like a heart attack while they were filming, so maybe that
Yeah.
had to do with it. Yeah, but like you said, some of it might do production, some of it might be with keep the people coming back. But it's weird because it's only like a month. Just it's a month break. What the fuck? Anyways,
Well, you know, a month of however many millions of people paying $10 a month. They stay subscribed for that extra month that maybe they, it kind of adds up.
yeah. All right. Well, we'll see. Well, once I watch Stranger Things, definitely will bring it up as a closing thought and let you guys know what I thought about it. And then the other thing I want to talk about, still playing Destiny 2, still on the season of the Haunted. And we struggled this week, the clan and I and the friends and I.
I can see it. I can see it in the Discord. I just saw despair,
So much
frustration.
so much toxicness. Not
Yeah.
not like bad
Yeah, and I'm
toxicness,
just
but
like, what? And I have no idea. I have no idea what you guys are actually doing, but I can just like feel the vibe of that channel.
So we decided to do one of the old raids because there's a gun that is really good because it lets you debuff enemies. And a lot of people use it. It's good to have as a group because when you're doing the raids, if there's a boss, one person has a gun, debuffs the enemy, and then everybody can do more damage. So only like 2 people in the clan of like 60 people have the gun. So we were like, let's do this raid that's like 2 years old. There's guides, millions of guides, and people should know how it's done. Like, let's do this old raid so more people get the gun to help the clan in the future. So we do the raid, and everything was going well. Like everything up to the boss was going great. Like half of the group, it was 6 of us. 3 of the group didn't know how to do it, so we had to explain some of it, and that was fine. I was surprised at how easy everybody took that in, and we were able to do the beginnings pretty well. There was some breaks because some people had to go like do certain things for like 5 or 10 minutes. So in total, it took us like 2 hours to complete like three parts of the raid, which wasn't too bad, just because there was a lot of breaks in between and a lot of explaining. We get to the boss, and this raid is one, it's already known for being glitchy, and two, it has very annoying mechanics. So we get to the boss, and it took us fucking 6 hours to do the boss, and we didn't do the boss. We didn't beat the boss. The closest we got was like less than a third of his health left, and I made a mistake and I died. And then obviously everybody blamed me for the mistake. It's like, we almost had it. The one time in the 6 hours where we were the closest, you died. And I got angry and I was like, well, fuck you guys, because you guys were fucking up way more shit. But it was just, it's one of those things. And I think all of us as gamers have experienced that moment where you're just so frustrated at a game because you're trying to do everything and you just can't do it, can't finish it. And then towards the end, like the last hour, the raid itself started glitching, where the things it was supposed to do, it wasn't doing. So then we were getting mad at that. And then we were like, just fuck it. And we were like, fuck it. We left the raid, we left the boss. And the thing is, like, the progress for getting the gun doesn't save. So if you want to get the gun, you have to do this again. And to get 5 other people to want to do this shit again is impossible. So I don't even want to do it anymore. I'm like, I don't want this gun. I don't want this gun. I don't want to do this again with anybody. Unless I can clone myself like I've wanted to for a while, I'm not going to do this. But yeah, that was that.
If you actually played with a mouse and keyboard, would you have not died?
No, it just had to do with okay, it was the mechanics. It was
I'm just trolling you.
Yeah, it was the mechanics. It was people like not doing what they were supposed to do or not doing what they were supposed to do fast enough. So shout out to Ace, shout out to Keezy, shout out to Wolf Venom, shout out to Most, who we call Moist because it's hilarious, and shout out to Willie because we tried to do it and we just couldn't. And partially my fault, partially everybody else who was in there. Sad stuff.
All right, lots of drama.
Yeah. If you want to see this toxic.
Yeah, Destiny's been a real gut wrencher these last few weeks.
Yeah, still love the game though. If you want to see this toxicity or whatever, and just how crazy we get about it, join the Discord. It's pretty fun. It's no ill intent, but it's just funny how frustrated we get. Like it's a video game. We've all been there.
I mean, I was certainly laughing.
Yeah. What about you? What are your closing thoughts?
Yeah, a couple things. Have you watched any of the Obi-Wan?
Not yet. I know it's
okay.
I believe 6 episodes, so I want to kind of watch them all together. I have seen stuff on Twitter, so I would say I'm super unspoiled.
Yeah, people are basically spoiling everything.
Yeah.
So, but I watched the first couple episodes. I think there's 3 out so far. So I've just watched the first 2. It is not good.
Wow.
It's like pretty. Yeah, I'm not enjoying it at all.
That's another real quick. That's another thing. I feel like on Twitter it's 50-50. Like there's a lot of people that think 50% of people think it sucks, and then 50% of people are like it's good. So what the fuck?
Yeah, and apparently the 3rd episode is like one of the worst rated things that's been like
goodness.
produced out of Star Wars. So it's like I don't know. I gotta check now. I want to like witnessed a car crash. Like, because initially I was like, do I even watch this anymore? Because it's just like, I do think it's going to be a thing that like picks up and maybe gets, okay over time. But there's part of me that was like almost just going to give up on the show. But then I heard the third episode's like so bad, and now I'm like, oh, now I kind of want to watch it just to see how bad it can get.
Oof.
But yeah, and yeah, I agree. Like, I think I've seen a pretty mixed reception on this. So some people like it, and others hate it a lot. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. So that's kind of a bummer because I really liked Mandalorian and
Boba Fett.
Boba Fett, and so I was like hoping to see more of that. But kind of revisiting Obi-Wan and Anakin Skywalker and trying to make something good out of that trilogy. But I feel like it's just maybe not going to be quite the redemption arc that everyone wanted.
Well, so with that one, even though I've seen some spoilers online, like I don't mind it as much just because I know it's centered on a pre-existing part of the universe. It's just Obi-Wan while he's in Tatooine, basically watching Luke or whatever. So like they're just adding stuff to it. So I'm not like too crazy about it. That's why I'm not like also too crazy about watching it. I'll just wait till they're all out, then I'll watch them. But I definitely have seen the discourse on the internet with everybody just kind of piling shit on it, but also like, oh, this is really good. I'm glad that they did it. Redemption for Hayden Christensen and shit like that. So I will definitely watch them once they're all out. I think it's gonna be only 6, so just wait for 3 more.
Yeah. So that's kind of on the TV side, and then for gaming, I'm still kind of messing around with Ni no Kuni Cross Worlds. Even though
are you messing around, or are you paying for it to mess around?
No, I'm not gonna pay any money. I'm just kind of.
I know. I wouldn't
playing around with it. It's more like I talked about this last week. It's like, is it even really a video game? It's still
an experience
from my perspective. Yeah, it's like I just kind of go in there and I'm just like checking a bunch of boxes and managing my inventory. So I don't know why, but yeah, I'm still kind of messing around with that. But I think I'll burn out of it pretty soon. And then the other thing that was keeping me busy was so I've also talked about the Playdate on a number of episodes. So that's that small yellow portable gaming device with a crank. I
still one button review.
Yeah, it's got a one button out of 5 or 10. I don't. However many buttons, it doesn't matter. But it only gets
one button out of 5 from us, baby.
Yeah, like I don't like it so far, but maybe I'll find some cool games on it eventually. But as of right now, I don't love the system. But as I was playing around with that, it is very small and quite portable. So kind of I was like, it kind of triggered this like, oh yeah, like maybe I should have an actual like portable device, which I haven't really used in a very long time. Even the Switch I think is like too. I know that's like it's a portable machine, but I think it's still too.
It's still bulky.
Yeah, it's still pretty bulky. So I was just trying to think about portable devices, and then as I was having that thought, our British correspondent Ollie, I don't know why he was doing this, but he was like messing around with like his Vita and like reinstalling or like installing a new battery and like checking out games, and I'm like, wait a minute, I have a Vita. Like my wife has a Vita that she just basically bought 6 years ago or something, and just like never played it. So I was like, let me dig that thing up and kind of mess around with this. So yeah, I've been playing around with the Vita for the last week or so. Because I just never played any Vita games or PSP games, and there's a couple of games for PSP that I've always wanted to play and just never got around to it, and that's Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, which was basically you could only play that on PSP. And then the Final Fantasy Tactics. I guess it's a remake, but it's like the War of the Lions
Yeah.
version of Final Fantasy Tactics, which is on PSPs. So yeah, I've been playing some old school games, which has been great because I think it's the summer of backlog, so it's a good time to go back and check out some classics that you never got around to play. And then I now have like a nice little portable machine, so pretty excited about that.
Yeah, I know you guys were texting each other on the game night group chat, and it's definitely like it piqued my interest because I also have a Vita. I don't know where it is, so I gotta search for it, just like I gotta search for my 3DS.
Might need to upgrade that battery.
Oh, probably. I honestly have not played it in like 4 years, but it's definitely. I thought it was a very underrated handheld, and it did have a lot of great games, especially RPGs. We're both big fans of RPGs, so I think I'm definitely gonna look for it and see if I can get back into it myself.
Yeah, so I think so that'll be, like the pocketable machine, which now, yeah, I guess I'm just, because I do like a lot of like driving around on errands and having time to kill at different places. So like I can, there's now like a use case that I have where I could have like a nice little pocketable machine. And then when I get a Steam Deck, like that's going to be, that's even bulkier than a Switch. So the Steam Deck will really be for like, if like I'm on a plane and I'm bringing a bunch of luggage with me, or if I'm, in a hotel room traveling or something like that. But for everything else, it'd be nice to have like a little small machine.
Yeah, and then can't wait for that first reaction of somebody seeing you pull out your Vita and like, oh shit, is that a Vita? Is that a PSP?
Well, not only that, it's a pink one too. So
shit,
it's a pink Vita. So
there you go.
It's gonna be a real
the pink
turner.
Vita. The pink Vita brings all the boys to the yard.
Exactly.
Oh, well,
so yeah,
right,
that's my up.
If you guys want to be in on this PSP/Vita thing, join the Discord. We'll talk old classics that we want to play. All right, and that does it for episode 22 of Pressing Buttons. Pretty good episode, I would say. A lot of good information coming out of Sony, and we're excited for the live stream we're going to be doing on Thursday, June 9th. Make sure you tune in. Make sure you look up on the Discord, on Twitter, on YouTube, on the podcast. We'll let you know when it's up, when we're about to go live. So please join us. Please banter with us. We love our supporters. We love you guys. Come join us. Thank you. And we will see you on the next episode. I'm Hugo. Bye.
I'm Nick. Later.